UCI BMX Supercross presented by Swatch.
We're here in Chula Vista for the final showdown in the UCI BMX Supercross series. California is well known as the birthplace for the sport, and BMX is alive and well here in the Golden State.
It's going to be a big race, you know. This is where BMX started in California.
It's nice to be back at Chula. I love this track, it's fast and definitely felt different than last year. It feels like it was only a year ago that we were here, but it feels like so long ago.
I ride here every week. I guess home track advantage. I mean, I know a few secret lines around here. Everybody's jumping the same things, but there's some lines on the turns that are better than others.
When this year started, I had no expectations, and I'm now in the top 3, and I want to stay there.
If you want to win the ranking, you have to win the race. So I would be thinking about just winning the race and will do my best, just enjoying.
I'm in probably nearly my best shape I've been in on my bike for a long time, so I do feel good, I feel confident, so hopefully we can just put it all together and get a good result this weekend. I'll be happy.
You know, I'm kind of the guy just likes to run off confidence, so if I'm feeling good, everything's kind of going to come into place, so I definitely think it's an advantage.
The last World Cup I came to here, I re-broke my hand on the first practice laps.
I just gonna have fun here and do my best like always and try to win.
I just want to be on that podium, and never won a World Cup, so that's always the goal.
Once again, the standings tell us there will be 2 new champions after today's final. France's Joris Daudet leads the series with 560 points ahead of an injured Mark Willers at 504, so only Jelle van Gorkum at 373 can overtake the Frenchman. For the women, New Zealand's Sarah Walker remains atop the women's chase with 580 points, followed closely by Magali Pochi of France with 474 and Caroline Buchanan of Australia with 384. The permanent track here at the Olympic Training Center is carved out of the hillsides of Chula Vista and one of the toughest and fastest on the world circuit.
I love this track and just amazing to be here again.
The track is really fast and I just enjoy riding my bike, so it's cool.
Main thing, have fun out there and do it while I got into it because I love the sport.
Yeah, the track feels great, and I think the weekend's going to be really good.
Ripping down the Swatch start ramp at speeds of over 30 miles an hour, riders hit a stretched out set of doubles, up a steep step, and then onto a massive triple step as they hit turn 1 at Mach speed. The massive berm forces riders out quickly, where the men and women split from each other into their own technical sections. The women carve to the inside lane and on through a tough jump field section, while the men go big over yet another step-up jump, while eventually vaulting over top of the women's turn and into their own steep second corner. From there, a fast and furious rhythm section will separate the field as riders push their limits to keep pace as they race towards the final corner. The last turn is steep and serves up one more chance to pass, and with the end in sight, it's one last sprint through a short technical section and on to the finish line. The time trials qualify the top 16 men and top 16 women who went on to fight it out in the super final main events. American Connor Fields beat the clock and then bested his own personal time on his way to winning the men's super final. Then the Americans made it 2 for 2 and Brooke Crane outdueled reigning world champ Mariana Pajon of Colombia to win the elite women's final with style. With 2 medals in hand, the American team were on their game going into Saturday's Supercross final. The elite women took to the punishing course for their round of qualifiers, and when the dust had settled, 16 would advance on to the semifinals. It was bad luck for Squelstein of Brazil, who crashed and blew her wheel off over the doubles in the first round, and then the jump claimed 2 more when Leaky Klaus and Naira Aldamida fell in the last run and failed to qualify. Lauren Reynolds, who was on the podium at the London race, crashed out in the 3rd run and missed out on the qualifier. In the final group, Caroline Buchanan stormed out and captured the 1st run, but American Ariel Martin showed her form, winning the next 2 races, while both moved on to qualify to the semifinals. The elite men got things going with their round of 8 qualifiers. Fresh off his super final win, Connor Fields continued his winning ways by dominating the first group with teammate David Herman close behind. Fields was snapping hard from the inside lane, and his speed on the Chula Vista track is unmatched so far. Barry Nobles of the U.S. crashed hard in the first lap, but then stormed back in the second and third runs to make the cut. Kyle Bennett fell victim to a first lap crash that put him out of action for the rest of the day, while Aussie Sam Willoughby went on to win all 3 rounds with ease. American Nick Long, one of the favorites to make the final, was on the top of his game, winning all 3 rounds in the last group. His teammates Austin Hyatt and Denzel Stein weren't as fortunate when the pair crashed hard in the second run and both failed to qualify. The men's qualifying rounds lived up to the hype, and the top 32 were now on to the quarterfinals, including 10 Americans. 1 year ago, Nick Long pulled off a come-from-behind win to claim Supercross gold here at Chula Vista. Here's the inside line on the crafty riding American.
You know, I don't really ever feel too much pressure racing. I'm kind of just out there to have fun. I've always had kind of a carefree mentality about racing. I didn't care too much how it went. You know, I feel the pressure I get is just from myself thinking that I'm better than somebody and that I should beat them. Besides that, whether I get first or last or don't make it, you know, it's not too bad. Yeah, I won the race last year, whether luck or things just kind of played my way. Up until a few months ago, maybe 3-4 months ago, I was just a big joke around here, you know. I never trained. I would joke about going to the weight room with everybody, like, yeah, I'll meet you there, and you know, I never went to the gym or anything. So I just kind of got tired of being the butt of every joke.
The Elite Men's quarterfinals are set to go with 4 groups of 8 riders ready to take the track, and it's elimination style. Top 4 from each group moving on to the semifinals. You see a little bit of wind blowing at the top of the hill. Connor Fields of the U.S. lining up on the inside lane, a place that he likes best. The wind blowing a little bit off to the side of the hill shouldn't be a big deal. And it's kind of an interesting group here because there's a couple of upstarts and a couple of riders that should be in the mix as we go. Connor Fields obviously focused, hasn't lost a lap yet. Great snap by Fields on the inside. Kirkham right there in tow. Taking into turn 1. Here comes the Herminator. This guy is back. Don't call it a comeback. David Herman screams out of turn 1. And look at Fields trying to work the bike hard to get that extra speed. Herman 1, Fields 2. Kirkham's in the mix as they go in there. Twan Van Gent and Carlos Aquendo. Kirkham dropping back. And here comes Van Gent just out of the screen in the orange, but it's all about Connor Fields. Another lap for him, taking it through the short section onto the finish line. Herman will pick up the 2. So another good lap for Fields. Aquendo just quietly squeaks in Twain Van Gent, Herman, and Fields move on. And here we go, round number 2. Maris Stromberg's on the hill, has to be one of the favorites. We'll also look for Mikey Day, who used to own this track. And again, from the inside lanes, a place that Stromberg loves to be in. And not a great stat by Stromberg, but he's out in the middle of the mix there. Tremendous. So 2 Latvians right now. Here comes a second Latvian in the yellow. Watch for him on the track if he can hang on. Mikey Day in the mix. He's a ways back in the pack. De Wilde hanging on. So the veterans, the Olympics, doing battle in the 4th and 5th spots on the bubble. Sylvain Andre hanging in the mix. So a Frenchman's in there. We have Latvia, France. And who's in for the last spot? Mikey Day does get it through. So he pulls it on De Wilde. Afro Bob runs out of juice. Mikey Day is in.
You know, 4th on the bubble, it seems like I'm every time, but it's just going to take me time, and I knew this year was going to be rough, so it's just kind of easy going for me.
And naturally, Mike Day feels at home here. Andre, Sylvain Andre makes it. Tremendous and Stromberg's a pair of Latvians on to the semifinals. And we go to the hill for the 3rd round. It could be called the Young and the Restless. Tori Nyhog in the mix, the Canadian ever improving. A few Americans, including Donnie Robinson, but wait, we've just heard that he's not going to be lining up for this one. 7 riders have a chance at 4 spots going on to the semifinals. A good shot, and the inside, Willoughby with a great snap. Coming out of the pocket right now, Willoughby, Van Gorkum, Nobles and Myers are in the mix. Here comes Nyhog on the inside. The big pass to the Canuck. in the 1 and 2 positions, a great spot to be, but bobbling a little bit, and the Americans all over him right now. Whoa, he gets the push, and Barry Nobles or Josh Myers gives him the elbow. Nijhag in the mix, and on the outside, here comes the Dutchman on the inside, pushing Nobles out, and Nobles gonna keep it clean. Myers with a nice push on Nijhag, also making it through.
Yeah, it was good. Got out of the first straight good and tried to follow Sam, and really held it all the way around and made it happen. One more lap in the main event.
So Myers and Nobles, 2 more Americans in the mix. Van Gorkum riding a hot lap, and Willoughby, the Australian, into the semifinals. And here we go, the 4th and final rack. To the top of the hill we go. We're gonna look at Kurt Picard, the Kiwi, going very fast today. And Nick Long, as we mentioned, should get himself into the mix quickly. And you'll see he's next to Kalen Young and Joris Dode, so watch for these 3 right off the gate to set the tone in this race. Oh, and a great snap there. Dode had a better snap, but Long and Dode shutting out Kalen Young, so he drops back and out of the mix right now. Picard's in there, the Kiwi riding tops. Here comes Dode again, a nice pass. Watch for this guy in the corners, the inside line. Vanderbiesen hanging in the mix right now. The bubble spot comes back to Young and Picard. Kalen Young takes it out, Picard dropping back. And this race all about Nicholas Long into the last turn. There comes Dode and Vanderbiesen and Kalen Young, a strong lap to fight back for the 4th and final spot.
So I managed to get third to the finish line, so I'm happy with it. Up to the next semi-final.
So Kalen Young picks up the bubble spot. Raymond Vanderbiesen with a great lap. Joris Dode with his mind set on gold in the Supercross Series, and Nick Long with a dominating lap on to the semifinals. 3 years ago, Martin saw her Olympic dreams slip away, but she's back in form and ready to lead the charge for Team USA.
Making the Olympic team next year, it's been a dream that I've had since I was a little girl. I've always wanted, even before BMX was in, the idea that I could be on the Olympic team. It was like, okay, what sport could I do? And then once BMX got put in, it was game time, I knew that that's where I was going to end up one day. Been through this process before, ramped up for 2008. Obviously that didn't go the way as planned, but if anything, I learned a lot about, patience. That's the biggest thing I've really brought home with this, is it's a long road to get there and anything can happen. And so, it's important not to just freak out too soon, too early, and I'm just looking forward to this race this weekend, the short-term goal of, being on top of that podium and enjoying myself. Without sounding too cocky or arrogant, I want to win. I won the time trial here last year, but I'd like to win. I'd like to win the whole race. So I think I got a shot at doing it. I think I can ride this track right and put everything together.
We're ready to roll with the first of 2 women's semifinals. To the top of the Swatch Tower we'll go once again. And a good group here, a few of Americans in there. Crane, Stancil, Walker has to be one of the favorites, and surprising, Tegan O'Keefe of South Africa in the mix. And here's a good shot of the Kiwi from the inside lane, Sarah Walker blasting it out, and once again puts herself in the mix. Oh, a huge crash. So 4 of them left right now. This is the way it's going to move. Sarah Walker, Brooke Crane, O'Keefe, and McLeod as the rest of the group goes down hard. And Tegan O'Keefe going to make her first Supercross final main event. So a great job for South Africa's women's BMX racing team as she works her way through. Sarah Walker just going to hone her skills. They all know that they're on to the women's final event by now. Brooke Crane tucks in the mix, and Australia's Melinda McLeod will ride in for the 4th in what is an easy first semi-final for the women. And a quick replay, Walker on the inside lane to the left in the white, no problem. Crane with the red and white jersey. You'll see her move over, taking the lanes away from Poche and Ladakova. Amanda Carr gets stuck in the mix, and so does Felisa Stancil. So a couple Americans on the outside looking in. But a great run for Tegan O'Keefe, who makes her first Supercross final along with McLeod, Crane, and Walker, winning that heat on her way to the women's final. And we're heading back up to the top of the hill for the second, possibly the most important semi-final of the day for the women. Ariel Martin trying to keep her dreams alive, both Olympic and Supercross. and a stacked field, Amanda Giving and Caroline Buchanan of Australia. So a ton of riders with a chance. Danny George popping from the inside. Buchanan, the white and green of the Australia jersey in the mix, but here comes Ariel Martin. Look for the blue bike going into turn number 1 right now, and she does. She pops it out. Buchanan, Amanda Giving, and Mariana Pajón in the mix. And Ariel Martin stretching out her lead a little bit right now. Buchanan in second, but the real fight for 5th and 4th right now is Danny George of the U.S. trying to find a way in there. Amanda Giving in the mix right now. In the 4th and final spot is Mariana Pajón. So the world champ just going to make it through. Danny George on the outside looking in as they hit the white line.
Today, just all my focus is on my one weakness, and I'm dialing that in and feeling good.
So Pajón giving Buchanan, but Martin owned that lap and moves her way on one step closer to a Supercross win. Well, there's Connor Fields getting set for yet another walk to the top of the tower. He wants to make this one a good one. He's got a pair of thirds and a second on the World Cup stage. Hasn't won one yet, wants to do it here. And he's unbeaten this weekend. Let's see if he can keep his streak alive. Connor Fields in the middle with a white jersey, drops back right away. The Latvian, here comes the Herminator, David Herman, and the Latvians. Where's Fields? Nowhere to be found on the inside. Here he comes. So a great shot for Fields. Look at him go. Passing all the riders, including Mike Day on his home track. And what a run. Right now it's David Herman, Connor Fields, one rider down. And the Latvians hanging, so it's the Americans versus the Latvians. Stromberg's pulling in the third, but Connor Fields on his way to yet another win and on to the main event. What a great lap.
This was a crazy one. I think I almost crashed like twice, and had the leg gate, and Herman from outside just cut me off, but it's all good. Just gonna go cool down and time to get ready for the main.
So Tremendous and Stromberg's the Latvians, a strong showing from them on, and Herman and Fields fires it back for yet another win on to the main event. We're getting ready for the last and final semifinal, a pair of Dutchmen in there, Van der Biesen and Jelly van Gorkum. And the Americans could be the favorites here, Nick Long, Barry Nobles, and also wanted to look at Joris Daudet of France. He's kind of struggled down the first straightaway, but he knows how to pass in the turn, so he should be a shoe-in to make the main event as well. A good shot of Nick Long on the inside, Daudet right next to him. And a great snap by Long. Oh, Daudet, and they bumped off the line there. So Daudet out of the mix at the moment, could prove costly. And Nick Long with a pair of Dutchmans in there. Oh, Jelly van Gorkum from the inside lane. So the Dutchmen swooping the Americans right now. And what a crazy race, 4th and 5th right now. Noble's in the mix, was in the mix, out of the mix. Myers is in there. Noble's trying to hang on. And here comes Daudet on the inside, the white world champ jersey. Go on the inside, oh, what a big hit, and down he goes with the Australians. And great news for Barry Nobles of the U.S., who will make it through after the carnage in the last turn, along with Raymond Van der Biesen getting the final and 4th qualifying spot. And that was an intense final. You can see Kaylin Young not happy with what Daudet tried to do on the inside of the last turn, but hey, when you're on the inside looking out, it's easier to look, and Daudet goes for the move just a little bit too far on the inside, didn't have enough momentum to make that pass. And I mean, hey, BMX is a contact sport. This is what happens. Sometimes the pass works out in your favor. Sometimes in this case, it did not for the Australians or Joris Daudet. So the Australians obviously not happy with what happened. Their day is done. So is Daudet, Van der Biesen, Nobles, Long, and Gorkum on to the main event. And this could be one of the most exciting women's finals of the year. Ariel Martin, who's owned almost every lap. From the outside lane, she's going to have to do it. She knows it's all in her head. Amanda Giving of the U.S., a great run in that last semifinal to make her way in the final. And Mariana Pajón, for the last couple of races, nursing an injury and hasn't quite looked like her world champ self. Wants to stay in this mix, but she's going to be in tough. Melinda McLeod with a great gate start. Australia, a strong representation, could be on the podium. And we're glad to see Tegan O'Keefe here. I know she feels the same way. her first Supercross World Cup final, and it's at the finals. What a great place to be. American Brooke Crane, strong contender. She won the super final on Friday night. Here again, Sarah Walker, who with a good start and a good mix here will win the Women's Supercross Championship final. And Caroline Buchanan, who's been on and off all day long trying to stay consistent and work her way into the top 3 and get a top 3 overall finish. Oh, and a great start by Walker. Buchanan dropped back right away. We got Run Rider off the pack. That's Tegan O'Keefe. But here comes Ariel Martin, the American. She dominated the semifinal. Can she do it one more time for her first big win? And right now, pulling away from the pack, she does. Brooke Crane in the mix, so it's an American-American 1-2 duel. Mariana Pajón staying tight. The Colombian trying to stay on this big track as she gets a push by Melinda McLeod, but it's Ariel Martin, perhaps the finest lap of her life, right here for the Supercross win. What a great lap as Crane tucks in, and the two will give a nice embrace, so a great celebration for the two American women who dominated here at home.
I didn't have a good race all day, but the minimums was perfect for me. I'm recovering from my injury, so I'm feeling good about it.
I had a pretty good gate and kind of got pinched down the hill, but just got around and tried holding it all the way around. Ended up getting second, so it was a good lap, first podium.
It's kind of unreal, I gotta be honest. I'm flying pretty high right now, and it's been a long time coming.
And it has been a long time coming for Martin. A great day capping off an awesome day of racing. Crane and Pajón will be on her side as they celebrate in style here at Chula Vista with a championship ring for Ariel Martin. This could be one of the craziest laps of the day. 4 Americans out of 8 on the final. Barry Nobles just made it in the last semifinal. Glad to be there. We're looking at Maris Stromberg's now. He's had an up and down season, but always finds his way into the top 3. Will settle for nothing less than gold here. Next to him, Raymond van der Biezen, the Olympian from the Netherlands, always strong, riding very smart today, could find his way onto the podium. Here is one of the surprise guys on the main today, Edzus Tremenis, another Latvian. So Maris Stromberg's move over a little bit. You've got some competition in your own country. Nick Long has to be one of the favorites. Watch for that yellow bike to spring out quickly. And David Herman, who's also been at the front of the pack this weekend, hole-shotting consistently, working on his game. Also one of the favorites next to him, Jelle van Gorkum, not afraid to put a move or two in the corners. Watch for him, he's quick, he knows how to pass. So 2 Dutch riders up top the hill on the inside lane. He's still unbeaten, looking for his first Supercross win. He's got a 2nd and 2/3.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
And a great view of the gate from there. It looks like Fields got a little over the top as he goes on the inside lane. Here comes Nick Long. Back in action, Fields staying in the mix. He goes inside. What a great run. We got a wipeout, a huge wipeout. Van Gorkum takes the field out. It's all Connor Fields. What a run. I think van der Biezen and Herman might have made through the carnage, but Connor Fields, uncontested, if he stays on his bike and rides it right, will take his first World Cup win and an unbeaten streak to the finish line. There he goes, Connor Fields of the USA. Woo! Look, he does the inside line. Nicholas Long caught him off guard, and Jelle van Gorkum did a slide safe into first, taking out the rest of the pack right there. And his teammate van der Biezen on the right gets through, and then Herman just squeaks through on the top side of the berm.
You know, at least 4 people went down. I was able to just go around the outside, came out in 3rd, and then, you know, there was really no one behind me, and that's kind of how the race finished.
Jelle came under me and he slipped away. He took out almost the whole field. And it was just me and Connor who was left. So Connor rode just his own lap.
It was great to see the girls out there killing it, and I knew if they won that I had to go out there and do just as well as them. So this feels 100 times better than I could have ever imagined.
So a great run. Barry Nobles just out of the medals. David Herman, van der Biezen, and Connor Fields with the runaway win today. And a great chance for them to celebrate on the podium holding the skateboard. And a great run for Fields, undefeated and unbeaten, winning his first World Cup and the sweet taste of success. It's been a truly amazing ride for France's Joris Daudet, who first won the European Championship, then followed that success by winning the World Championships and caps off a grande season with the UCI Supercross title. New Zealand's Sarah Walker claimed her first women's Supercross crown, adding to an already impressive resume of achievements that include World Championship gold. That's it from the Olympic Training Center here in Chula Vista, as yet another year of UCI Supercross racing is in the books. It lived up to the hype and more as the Americans dominated, winning all 4 medals, but the overall titles are now off to France and New Zealand. With some downtime, the athletes will now continue their final preparations for the upcoming season and a shot at Olympic glory.